This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
Welcome to DBL. I'm Sam here with Jeff and Al, and today we're going to look back at some of our most memorable moments here at DBL, moments that of course made us smile or left us a bit confused, like the time Jeff brought up his theory about a mysterious moon colony. What? Take a look.
Listen up.
There's no community of moon aliens inside those craters.
How do we know? We've never been there.
We've been to the moon.
Not in the middle.
We have not been into the middle. Now, I don't think we've been into the craters either. Now, first of all, we've known that there's been water on the moon, but it was always on the cold, dark side. We never knew that there was water on the sunlit side. So we finally know that there's water on the sunlit side, which will save us a lot of money, because if we ever wanted to set up a station there, which we have, you would have to you'd have to set out launches of water to keep everybody alive. That's like hundreds of thousands of dollars. So it'll save money. Who knows what else this will mean, but very cool.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars in the scheme of things.
You know who else has a surplus of water and resources?
Here.
Canada, and they're much closer. Canada has 10 times the natural resources per citizen than any other country, and they're right upstairs.
No,
okay?
I'm with Jeff.
You don't have to go to the moon.
I'm so sick of Earth news. I want moon news.
Right.
I'm sick of what's happening on this planet. I want to talk more about lunar water.
I do too.
Yeah, and even your theory. So tell us about your theory. You have 5 seconds.
So here's what, all right, I can't do it in 5 seconds,
okay.
but you see how it's always like getting blasted with asteroids, the moon? That's to protect the life inside. You know what I just said.
I don't know about that. I don't know why the water doesn't escape, because there's very little atmosphere, if not any atmosphere.
But maybe if we went there and studied it, we'd get a better idea of what's going on, and then they could debunk my theory. Until they debunk my theory, I'm sticking with it.
You sound bananas.
Hey,
Eric,
it's better than politics.
It's true.
I'm sticking with that story. Listen, the ocean is like 90% undiscovered. The moon is like what? No, we don't even have a percentage of what we looked at the moon. Why don't we get into some of these things?
They say we know more about the moon and outer space than we know about the ocean. So I would get your theory about the ocean, but I don't know about cracking open the old moon and then
this conversation should be happening in a smoke-filled car. Are you guys serious right now? 2 people, 3 people that have no idea what they're talking about. Sam's talking about the moon like she's bored of going there. There's nothing up there.
And how do you know prices?
Water.
Moving on.
How do I know what?
Prices, 100,000. You don't know how much it is.
Sam has no idea.
It is.
Sam, we are moving on.
All right.
We are moving on. Jeff, you can have your moon people back here on Earth. But we've got more pressing matters to deal with, like my beef with boneless chicken wings. Come on, get on my side, guys. In case you don't remember, take a look.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say this. Jeff, I've been waiting for somebody to say this for a long time. I've been yelling it, usually when I'd had too many drinks at a Buffalo Wild Wings. These are not wings. Wings have a completely different texture than boneless buffalo wings. They have a different outside. There's no bone anywhere around them. They're just like piggybacking off the love that everybody has for regular wings. They have nothing to do with wings, Jeff. How do you feel, man?
Al, I know how passionate you are about your wings. We, I think, are forever bonded over wings. We ate some super hot wings. We've went out, Al, and had wings, and Al does not mess around when he eats his wings. I've never seen anybody be so serious and get every single piece of meat off that wing.
Yes.
So I'm with Al on this one. I can't even fight it.
Well, yeah. It makes perfect sense. It's misleading. You can't.
But how is it latched on? Like you see it on every menu, boneless
because
wings.
Like you said, they're capitalizing off the fandom. Look at you.
Do you think no one likes the word cutlet? It's off-putting.
No, I think of cutlets, the things that you put in your breast.
I don't think about that at all.
Oh, well, there's an item that women will buy. They're like little cutlets, and you put them in your bra, and they make everything lift up.
Okay, that must be in the 3rd chapter of Anne with an E. Yes!
Wow! Wow!
Thank you, Booth.
Wow!
Yeah, that's how you win an argument, Sam.
What?
I just won. No one thinks about cutlets and stuff with your bra. It's more.
A lot of women will hear the word cutlet and they'll think of those little rubber things that we put in the bra.
You don't need your hands.
Huh?
You don't need to use your hands. We got it. Use your words. That's what the microphone's for.
It's anatomy.
Okay.
They're feeding tools. It's not that big of a deal.
Okay.
Coming up on DBL. A man convicted of rape during a corrupt trial is freed from prison after 40 years behind bars. How Ronnie Long maintained his innocence in today's Freedom Files, Wrongfully Convicted. And a mom's controversial decision to raise her child without labeling them a specific gender. We're going to talk about it next. Welcome back to DBL. Gender equality. It's something so many of us dream about. And a mom in Utah is hoping that the way she's raising her child will bring us closer to that reality. I spoke with her earlier in this Encore DBL Spotlight.
Imagine a world that doesn't separate things by pink or blue, boy or girl, masculine or feminine.
When Zoomer was born in 2016, we decided not to assign a gender to them.
Instead of using the pronouns he or she and him or her, Zoomer goes by they, them, and their.
And we don't disclose information about Zoomer's genitals to people who don't need to know, so Zoomer doesn't get stereotyped in a binary way.
Gender creative parenting allows children to be exposed to a variety of gender types so they can explore their gender without restriction from society or the gender they were born with.
There's no such thing as like girls' toys or boys' clothes. We just really strive to expose Zoomer to all sorts of colors and clothes and toys and books.
And while the outstanding majority has been supportive, at times, society's standards have forced her family to make some difficult decisions.
We had gone to a track meet for kids, so we went down and Zoomer was so excited to run. And then one of the organizers was like, 2- and 3-year-old boys in this line, 2- and 3-year-old girls in this line. And I was just really disappointed about it, really sad about it, right? Like, there's truly no difference in like the running capabilities of a 3-year-old, right? Like, they're all a hot mess running down the track. And so we decided to leave.
But when push comes to shove, Kyle wouldn't change her parenting decision, because in the end, Kyle's dream for Zoomer should be every parent's wish for their child.
I just want them to feel completely loved and accepted and celebrated for who they are, and like they never have to feel shame.
Kyle, welcome to DBL. Thank you for sharing your family story. I am not a parent, I want to be honest about that, but raising kids, I believe, is the toughest job in the entire world. And I have to imagine that this lifestyle could make parenting more complicated. So my first question is, why do this?
Sure. I think there are two aspects to this of why I do this. The first is that I know a lot of transgender people and intersex people and non-binary people, and their parents didn't get their gender assignment right. And so I thought, we could kind of just leave that gender card blank and let Zoomer tell us who they are. And then the other aspect is that even if my kid does identify as a girl or a boy, there are so many gender stereotypes that get put on kids really early in life that can limit their experiences. So I figured maybe we could just shield them from these gender stereotypes, and then they'll have more freedom to explore gender and their interests without, shame or expectations.
Zoomer is in preschool, and I have to ask, talk to me about the kids in their class. How do they respond to Zoomer?
Zoomer was in a preschool with kids since they were like 5 months old, so they all grew up together. And I think we're lucky that we live in a progressive city and we go to a school where all of the parents really have similar parenting values as us, right? And there's lots of boys at the school who wear dresses and lots of girls at the school who have short hair and don't like wearing dresses. So there's a lot of playing with gender that's already happening anyway. So I don't know if you were to walk into Zoomer's school, you'd go, oh, there's the gender creative kid, right? They're all pretty gender creative there.
That's interesting. Now let's take it out of that bubble. What do you think, and what would you say to people who take the other side? This lifestyle, let's say, could be confusing to a child or could create some problems in the future. What do you say to that, Kyle?
It's a good question. It's a fair question. It's a question that we get a lot. The way I see it is that the reality of the human experience is that people are diverse, right? And people play with gender in different ways and experience gender in different ways. And we're just teaching Zoomer that reality. So instead of teaching them, this binary way of life, and then they'll grow up and be a little bit surprised that, oh, that's actually not how gender is experienced. I think we're just exposing them to the gender spectrum from the very beginning.
Have you found that there are any hoops, as you say, with Zoomer? Has Zoomer had any problems with your gender creative approach to raising them?
So Zoomer now, around their 4th birthday, really started gravitating toward a gender and claiming a gender identity and pronouns. And we're totally honoring that. We use they, them in these public spaces because we want Zoomer to be able to have the autonomy, of being able to say hey world, this is who I am when they're ready. But Zoomer seems to, just like every other kid, right? Has found the words that fit for them, and they express themselves how they want. They choose the clothes that they want, the toys that they want. They tell us what types of words they want us to use to describe them. And so I don't think that it's been confusing for them. I think it's been really liberating for them, right? And they've had all of the resources and language and framework and support that they need to be able to come to their own identity, communicate that with us, and be accepted and loved and supported for.
Wow, you've set them up very well. You've written a book about your gender creative journey with Zoomer. I want to know, what's the most important thing you want the readers to take away from it? What do you want to get across? What's the kernel that you want them to take away from that?
My hope is the take home from this book is that it can just help activate the switch in a reader's mind of being able to see how gender stereotypes are really all around us, and that we can commit to challenging them.
Check out our new book, Raising Them. It's in bookstores now. Kyle, again, such a rad person to talk to, learn a lot, and start a great conversation. Thank you again.
Thanks for having me.
And great haircut. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
DBL, imagine more than half of your life being ripped away from you, spending your 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s behind bars for a crime that you did not commit. Well, that's exactly what happened to Ronnie Long. And earlier, Al and I spoke with him about his remarkable story. That's today's Freedom Files, Wrongfully Convicted.
The year is 1976. Jimmy Carter is president, Rocky is the #1 movie at the box office, and a gallon of gas costs 59 cents. On the night of April 25th, a woman in Concord, North Carolina, is raped during an attempted home robbery.
A white victim, very prestigious, influential pillar in the community.
Days later, police bring the victim to a nearby courthouse, hoping she can identify her attacker. They seat her in the courtroom, where 20-year-old Ronnie Long is facing a minor and unrelated trespassing charge.
I played baseball, basketball, and football. Typical teenager life.
But that life comes crashing down.
2 detectives, the same 2 detectives that I saw sitting in the courtroom, came to my house, told me they needed me to come downtown with them. My mother asked them, do we need a lawyer or something with him? Nah, you don't need nobody with him. Walked in the police department with the 2 detectives. They tell me I'm a suspect in a rape and burglary case. You know what happened after that.
The trial begins just months later, and protesters defending Ronnie's innocence take to the streets. At trial, prosecutors have zero physical evidence tying Ronnie to the crime.
You got a white judge, a white DA, 12 white tainted jurors. You tell me about the trial. What trial? I was convicted the day that they picked me up.
An all-white jury finds him guilty, sentencing him to 2 life sentences.
All I seen was a candy-coated version of a modernized lynching.
For decades, Ronnie's legal team files petitions with the court attempting to prove his innocence, but with no success.
But guess what? God had a better idea.
In 2005, Ronnie's team makes a jaw-dropping discovery. Piles of evidence that were never disclosed at his original trial. Hair samples, clothing fibers, and burned matches from the scene of the crime that aren't a match to Ronnie. The biggest shock? A rape kit that never made it to trial. Despite it all, a judge rules that the physical evidence did not outweigh the victim's testimony.
I knew I had been set up. I knew I had been framed. I knew my mother, and my father's name had been tarnished. And I refused to quit.
Then, in 2015, more unearthed evidence. 43 fingerprints taken from the original crime scene, and not a single one matches to Ronnie. Finally, the federal court believes Ronnie's innocence, and his conviction is vacated. In August of this year, after 44 years behind bars, Ronnie walks out of prison a free man.
Ronnie Long, welcome to DBL. So 44 years taken from you. It's hard for me to even wrap my head around that. I would be fueled by anger. Now, I want our viewers to know this and really understand how much of your life that you had to sacrifice for a crime that you did not commit. So let's really paint the picture here for our viewers. Ronnie, you spent your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s behind bars, again, for a crime that you did not commit. Now, the woman who accused you, she went to her grave still saying it was you. How do you not hold resentment towards her?
My resentment is not towards her. It's towards those four corrupt, con-called police detectives that lied, put me in front of this person, Mrs. Ball, because I feel as though, you understand, saying she was only doing what they asked her to do. But if you look at the legal documents, the judge asked Ms. Boss on the day that we went to court, the judge asked Ms. Boss, did the police ask you to pick Ronnie Long? And in the document she said they could have.
You know, and the fact that we're still not out of the woods with this is bewildering to me. It's angering. But your next battle is getting the North Carolina governor to give you a pardon. Without it, you can't get compensation, which you absolutely deserve for your time. I won't call it time served, which was time stolen from you.
Yeah, robbery.
Robbery. You need to be paid back for the robbery that was committed upon you. Now, if that governor is listening to you, what would you say to him? This is your moment.
I can't even get food stamps. I'm trying to get food stamps. And I asked Governor Cooper, I mean, if there's any kind of compassion in your heart for another human being, the evidence speaks for itself. I ask you to assist me in trying to make a life for me and my family.
Now, Ronnie, what are your dreams for the future?
Future? Have I thought about my future?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm asking, man. I'm asking people to understand my situation here and know that that I'm struggling for real. I'm still struggling even after 44 years of struggle. You know what I mean? It's all good though. I mean, you understand? Saying these are the trials and tribulations that life puts in front of us. You got to believe, you understand, saying that you're going to overcome all forms of adversity. My future right now is from day to day.
Powerful words. So we ask you, please, to help in Ronnie's fight. Visit his website, freeronnielongnow.org. There, you can donate to his GoFundMe page and sign his petition to the governor. All hands on deck. We need you. Thank you again, Ronnie, and we will be in touch.
Thank you, Mr. Long.
Hey.
Welcome back to DBL. We love sharing your comments. So Stacy says, Jeff's moon idea is nuts. Ryan says, there's no such thing as boneless chicken wings.
Thank you, Ryan. That's a smart man right there. There's not. I mean, let's just start that right now.
Right, okay. Well, what do you think about people thinking your idea is bananas?
Stacy, start thinking outside the box, or maybe in this case, inside the moon.
Oh, that could be a new saying.
There you go, Stacy. Get your
It
new
won't
tattoo.
be, but it could be.
If you're sticking around, there's more DBL after the break. If not, we'll see you again real soon.